On a cold night, a girl named Suzu is dragged out into a shed by her father because he can't stand looking at her. He wishes Suzu had never been born, and he plans to leave her out here all night. But a few minutes later, her brother Jinta comes out and tries to get free her. However, he is shocked to discover that she's not there. He frantically runs around the village looking for Suzu, and he eventually finds her as she's crossing a bridge to leave the village. He rushes over to her and apologizes for not being able to protect her from their father's abuse, because he will just get in trouble if he tries to protect her. Suzu was born with a demon eye, and this is feudal Japan, so she has been labeled as a cursed child and is treated like a worthless pest. She knows there's no way she can live a normal life with an eye like this, so she tells Jinta to just go home without her. Jinta stands there for a moment, contemplating his next move, and eventually, he decides that he loves his sister more than the rest of the family, so he takes her hand and asks her to run away with him. Together, they flee their old home, but it's still raining, so it's starting to get really cold out here. They have nowhere to go for shelter, so Jinta takes Suzu to the remains of an old building, and the two huddle up together to try to conserve body heat. Suzu has already fallen asleep, and Jinta is about to pass out as well, but before he does, he notices a man approaching them, and he says something about taking them in. By the time Jinta wakes up, he finds himself being carried by the man with Suzu walking alongside him. The man is relieved to see that Jinta is finally awake, so he sets him down and they continue walking until they get to the man's village. The village is mostly inhabited by blacksmiths who specialize in forging katanas, so everyone is hard at work right now. The man leads Jinta and Suzu to his house, and as soon as he opens the door, his daughter runs out to greet him. She is happy to see him, but she's also curious about the two kids standing behind him, so the man tells her that Jinta and Suzu will be living with them from now on. He asks his daughter if she's okay with that, and she actually seems thrilled by the idea since that means she'll have friends to play with. She walks up to Jinta to introduce herself as Shirayuki, and she hopes all three of them can get along with each other from now on. That night, Jinta is having trouble getting to sleep, so Motoharu asks him if something is wrong. Motoharu is currently cleaning his sword, so Jinta asks him if he is a samurai, but Motoharu says he is actually a sentinel, so his job is to keep important people and places safe. Later, Jinta and Suzu join Shirayuki and Chitose by the river. On the way home, Jinta asks about Shirayuki's mother, Yokaze, who helped him and Suzu stay in the village. Shirayuki explains that Yokaze is an Itsukiheim, a fire god's maiden, and can only be seen by the village chief and her husband Motoharu, her sentinel. The next day, Jinta trains with Motoharu, but as a novice in sword fighting, he's easily knocked to the ground without Motoharu breaking a sweat. He tells Jinta that he still has a long way to go, but if he keeps practicing, then he will surely become a master someday. Years go by, and Jinta has become the new sentinel of the Shrine Maiden, so he is attending a meeting between all the village officials and the Shrine Maiden. She is hidden behind a curtain so no one can see her directly, and as the meeting begins, she commends Jinta for his excellent demon-slaying abilities. He tells her he is just doing his job by keeping this village safe, and the most recent demon he encountered tried using a human form to sneak into the village. One of the officials starts getting nervous once Jinta says this, and the others ask if he has any idea why a demon would want to sneak into the village. One official suggests that the demon may be after the Shrine Maiden, because legend has it that if a demon eats the liver of a Shrine Maiden, it will become immortal. But it might also be after the sacred Yurei sword. It has been passed down by the Shrine Maidens for generations, and it is quite important, so it would make sense for the demons to be after it. One of the officials mentions that the Yurei sword was created by one of the best blacksmiths known to man, and it is said to have mystical powers imbued within it. If the demons are truly after the Yurei blade, then it could spell trouble for the entire village, so the chief tells everyone to remain vigilant. But Kivamasa says there's nothing to worry about because both he and Jinta are in charge of guarding the Shrine Maiden. But he personally thinks Jinta isn't qualified for the job. Jinta and Kiyomasa are about to start arguing, but the chief and the Shrine Maiden tell them to quiet down. The meeting is now over, so everyone leaves the shrine except Jinta because it's his job to guard the Shrine Maiden. Now that they are alone, the Shrine Maiden comes out of her room, and it turns out to be Shirayuki. Jinta asks her what she's doing because a Shrine Maiden shouldn't allow herself to be seen so carelessly, but she and Jinta have been best friends for ages, so she sees no need for formalities. She tells him that Suzu is here too, but the shrine is supposed to be off-limits to regular people, so she really shouldn't be here. Suzu doesn't look like she's grown up at all in the past few years, and when Jinta and Shirayuki wake her up, she is elated to see her big brother again. Jinta has been so busy with demon slaying that she barely ever gets to see him, but while he's happy to see her too, he scolds Suzu for coming here since the shrine is off limits. She doesn't understand why she can't visit Shirayuki, But Jinta gets to see her whenever he wants. Rules are rules, so Jinta tells her to go back to their house. After Suzu leaves, the chief soon returns to the shrine, and he has something important he has to discuss with Shirayuki, so he asks Jinta to give them some privacy. Jinta initially refuses because it is his duty as Shirayuki's sentinel to be by her side at all times, but Shirayuki tells him he can take the day off. So Jinta eventually relents and heads home for the day. Meanwhile, outside the village, two demons have set their sights on Suzu because of her demon eye. That evening, Shirayuki sneaks out of the shrine and meets up with Jinta because she has something important she wants to tell him. When the chief came to speak with her earlier, he told her that she should focus on producing an heir to replace her in case she ends up being killed by the demons. It sounds morbid, but the chief is right, so Shirayuki needs to get married soon, and it was decided that she will marry Kiyomasa, mostly because he is the son of the chief and will eventually become the new chief of the village. Jinta isn't sure how he should feel about the news, and Shirayuki isn't happy about it either. She admits that she is in love with Jinta, and honestly, she snuck out here fully intending to ask Jinta to run away with her and start a new life, but she knows he would never agree to that. Jinta took an oath to protect this village and trained for years to become strong enough to defend it, and Shirayuki took the same oath when she became the village's shrine maiden, so if they were to run away now, it would be an insult to everything they have worked for. More time passes and Jinta is once again called into a meeting where he is informed of a demon sighting out in the forest. He is tasked with slaying the demons, so he prepares to head out immediately. However, before he leaves, Kiyomasa stops him. He knows Jinta must have heard the news about Shirayuki getting married to him, so he doesn't understand why Jinta is acting like he's not upset. Jinta tells him there's nothing to be upset about because the only things that matter to him are the safety of his shrine maiden and the village. The crazy thing about this is that Kiyomasa isn't even trying to gloat about marrying Shirayuki. He knows Jinta is in love with Shirayuki, and she is in love with Jinta, so it just feels messed up for him to marry her. But Jinta has already made his decision, so he leaves the village to complete his mission. Once he makes it out into the forest, Jinta is suddenly attacked by the bulky demon. Before the fight begins, he asks the demon if it's alone because the reports said there were two demons out here, and the bulky demon explains that his partner had some business to attend to in the village. That doesn't sound good, but Jinta is going to have to deal with this guy first before he can head back to deal with the second demon. He dashes forward, and with a heavy swing, he's able to sever one of the demon's arms, but the demon keeps attacking, so he's forced to back away. The demon picks up its severed hand, and it isn't even upset about losing it. He is just impressed that Jinta was skilled enough to cut it off. Meanwhile, in the village, Suzu is confronted by the demon baddie, and she is absolutely terrified. The demon tells Suzu that there's no need to be so frightened because Suzu is a demon just like her, but Suzu refuses to believe it. The demon takes one look at Suzu and realizes that her love for Jinta must be keeping her from becoming a full demon, and she finds it quite oppressive because Jinta must have showered Suzu with constant love and affection to make her such a good person. Suzu loves Jinta with all her heart, so hearing the demon praise Jinta puts her at ease. Now that Suzu is no longer scared of her, the demon tries to convince Suzu to use her powers to help her. She can promises that she won't hurt Suzu in any way, and everyone knows demons can't lie, so she says Suzu can trust her. However, Suzu rejects her offer because there's a chance that the demons might hurt Jinta. The demon girl can't deny that, so she tries using a different method to convince Suzu and shows her a vision. The vision shows Shirayuki undressing and getting ready to take back shots in the shrine. And seeing this makes Suzu sick, but because of the back shots, but because it wasn't Jinta giving them. Vision shows Shirayuki undressing and getting ready to take back shots in the shrine. And seeing this makes Suzu sick, but because of the back shots, but because it wasn't Jinta giving them to her. She asked the demon if what she saw was real, so she explained that her ability allows her to see into the future. She can also share visions of the future with others as well, which is what Suzu just saw, but if Suzu still doesn't believe her, then she's willing to take her to the shrine right now so she can see it in person. Meanwhile, Jinta is still fighting the bulky demon, but before the fight continues, he wants to know why the demons attack humans in the first place. The demon explains that it is simply its purpose in life. Demons don't necessarily have to kill humans, but every demon has an intended purpose they must fulfill, and right now, the bulky demon's purpose is to stall Jikan. Bulk has the power of assimilation, so he can acquire the abilities of other demons by eating them, even allowing him to alter his body at will. Jikan can afford to hesitate here. so he charges forward in an attempt to kill Bulk once and for all. However, he immediately gets his arm punched off, and when he tries to slash Bulk's neck, Bulk shatters it with his teeth. By all accounts, Jiken should be a dead man, but at the last second, he reaches back and grabs a piece of his shattered sword. He then plunges the fragment deep into Bulk's heart before Bulk could retaliate, so Jiken emerges victorious. Bulk accepts his defeat, and he's actually quite happy because this means he has fulfilled his purpose. He explains that the other demon he came with has the power of foresight, and she has used it to look far into the future, 170 years to be exact. And according to her vision, the strongest demon of all time lives here, which is why they came in the first place. As soon as Bulk mentions a demon living in the village, Jiken realizes he must be talking about Suzu, but before he can react, Bulk says he's going to give Jiken a gift to congratulate him on his victory. A second later, Bulk's severed arm grabs Jiken's head and begins squeezing him until he passes out. Meanwhile, over in the shrine, Kiyomasa is on top of Shirayuki. All he needs to do is make a child with her, so he is hoping to get it over with once and for all. And since Jiken is away on a mission, this is the perfect time. Otherwise, Jiken would have to sit outside and listen to the sound of Shirayuki getting pile-drive, and Kiyomasa feels bad enough about this already. However, before anything could happen, the demon girl tears through the curtains to show Suzu what's going on, and she's absolutely devastated. At the same time, Jinta wakes up in the forest, and for some reason, his missing arm has been restored, but he doesn't have time to worry about that because Suzu might be in trouble, so he starts running back to the village. Meanwhile, Suzu is still trying to understand what she just witnessed. It was unbearable to see Jinta in love with Shirayuki, but Suzu was willing to put up with it if Jinta got to be happy. Jiken stopped herself from growing up so she wouldn't get in the way of Jinta and Shirayuki's relationship. But now she finds out that Shirayuki is marrying a different guy. This was the final straw, so Suzu snaps and becomes unhinged. She is so frustrated that Shirayuki would betray Jiken's love, and after a few suggestive words from the demon girl, Suzu decides to kill her. Her demon power suddenly awakens, and the whole room is filled with black smoke as Suzu takes an adult form. Kiyomasa takes the legendary sword and tries to attack Suzu, but the demon girl knocks him out before he could do anything. She then takes Kiyomasa's body outside because she has something she wants to do, leaving Shirayuki alone with Suzu. Jinta soon arrives at the shrine and Shirayuki is still alive, so she runs into his arms, but a second later, her head is cut off by Suzu. Jinta is frozen in shock by what just happened, and a moment later, Suzu appears behind him holding Shirayuki's head. Jinta asks Suzu why she would do such a thing, so Suzu starts explaining the whole thing about Shirayuki marrying another man, but he already knew about it, and even if he didn't, it doesn't give her the right to kill Shirayuki. Jinta realizes that the Suzu he cared for is long gone, and with Shirayuki dead, he has nothing left except hatred. The demon arm begins to integrate with the rest of his body, transforming Jinta, and now he is looking at Suzu with pure disdain. She doesn't understand why he looks like he hates her so much when all she was trying to do is make him happy. She takes this to mean that Jinta is going to abandon her just like everyone else, so she decides to just kill him. However, as she stabs Jinta in the stomach, she realizes it did almost no damage, and Jinta proceeds to punch a hole straight through her body. Suzu manages to survive the punch, so Jinta tries to finish her off, but at the last second, the demon girl jumps in and sacrifices herself to save Suzu. She tells Suzu to get out of here while she has the chance, so she starts walking away, but before she leaves, Suzu tells Jinta that she has nothing left in this world, so no matter how many years it takes, she's going to make sure she destroys everything. And on the final day, she will be back to kill him for betraying her. Subscribe to see more amazing videos on my channel in the future, and please press like button to motivate our hard works, and see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.